It's time for business. Hi, Kate.
François.
So we've had it in the last couple of hours. The European Union unveiling this double-barreled blueprint for reining in big tech.
Yeah, and there are two separate proposals here that have been unveiled in the same one fell swoop, Francois. One is to police content, and the other is targeting market monopoly. Now, the Digital Markets Act would tackle unfair competition, or what regulators see as unfair competition anyway, trying to give small tech companies more leverage here. As an example, just one of many, of course, a search for a certain type of product that's done on an Apple device should showcase all possible matches, not pushing ones that are made by Apple itself. This is one of the examples that's been put forward here. Non-compliance could lead to fines of up to 10% of global revenues. And if companies are found to be repeat offenders, European authorities say they could take steps to try to structurally separate their businesses, amounting to trying to take apart tech giants. That would be an extreme case, but fines are certainly would certainly be the first penalty. Meanwhile, the Digital Services Act would make companies oversee and remove illegal or possibly harmful content, also with a fine that could amount to billions of euros there. All of this is going to need to be debated. The European Parliament and all 27 member states need to approve any final legislation before it takes effect. So this could be quite a few years down the line. Many of the firms that are targeted here are based in the United States, and the Trump administration in particular has accused Brussels of waging a war on American businesses, on Silicon Valley in particular. The EU's competition chief, Margaret Vestager, though, saying that it's merely a matter of updating the bloc's rules to make them fit for the digital age.
Yeah, we've had reactions in the past minutes. Google complaining that the law targets, quote, only a handful of companies. However, when we look at reactions elsewhere, we see that, like I said, moves are afoot, not just inside the European Union.
Yeah, absolutely. In many countries, piecemeal process. It has to be said the European Union is broadly seen as the global leader when it comes to trying to catch up to this regulation. The United Kingdom has today outlined its own plan to regulate online safety with a possible fine of up to 10% of global turnover, so more than the European 6% on that particular front. Last week, London said that it would be creating its own new digital regulator post-Brexit, which would tailor rules on competition to suit different business models. The United States has in many ways really struggled to catch up here. It's investigating past behavior rather than focusing on future regulations. In the last week, the Federal Trade Commission has announced a probe into how social media firms protect data privacy. And last week, along with 48 states in the U.S., it filed a major lawsuit against Facebook over its acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. In China, of course, firms like Google and Facebook are among the websites that are actually blocked in the country. But Beijing has also been putting down its foot a little bit when it comes to competition there. It's unveiled new draft legislation in the last week that would prevent monopolies in the tech sector. And this week it's fined three companies, including its online giants, Alibaba and Tencent, over past deals. All this to say that there does seem to be a broader shift here around the world. It's no longer just one country or government cracking down. This could be the beginning of a turning point for internet companies.
Internet companies which have done great business on the stock market this year. How are the markets doing?
Well, Wall Street is trading higher. Francois, gains between about 2/3 and 3/4 of 1 percentage point for the major indices there. It's worth noting that the likes of Facebook, Google, and Amazon are trading a bit lower today, although Apple shares are pretty sharply up. Investors in the U.S. have been boosted by another compromise proposal on possible coronavirus relief funds in the United States. There seems to be a bit of optimism now that enough lawmakers could sign on to this latest proposal, $748 billion in stimulus, which would notably extend unemployment benefits for millions of Americans. We'll be following that as we get more information from Washington. Close for the major European indices. London's FTSE 100 slightly in the red. The CAC 40 here in Paris closing very slightly up. The DAX rose about 1% in Frankfurt. tightening of restrictions in Germany to control the spread of the coronavirus. Volkswagen shares boosted trade there, closing up about 7.6% today. And investors in Europe, of course, still watching for any signs of progress on a post-Brexit trade deal, those negotiations continuing between Brussels and London.
All right, Kate Moody, many thanks. We'll have more business news for you later on.